to the Stanley Town Council Finance and General Purpose Committee on the 15th of October 2019. So, we start. First item, any apologies?
Thank you, Chairman. I've received apologies from Councillor Stevenson and Councillor McMahon as not present.
Accept those, yes? Any declarations of interest for any of the items that's on the agenda? None? Okay. Any announcements from the chair? There's none from the chair. Any announcements from the
Just the usual one, Chairman. We're recording the meeting this evening, and so is one member of the public. And just to remind if members haven't already, to please put their phones on silent or turn them off so that we're uninterrupted.
Any public participation? Any questions or?
None necessary, Chairman.
Move on to item 5, which is confirmation of the minutes. Attachment A for the committee meeting held on the 7th of September. Any comments from any members? Sorry?
Who was that?
Councillor Naird moved to the correct record.
Second notice?
Councillor Nicholson, second those. Those agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it. From the aim.
Sort of put from the door, I suppose, to bed through the door.
Can we move on to item 6, council payments for pamphlet affiliation. Committee required to consider the attached information and approve the payments of accounts for September 2019 and vote the pamphlet affiliations for September 2019. It's attachments B, C and D. Any comments or observations regarding the schedule of payments?
I've not received anything in writing in advance of the meeting, Chairman, so it's down to whether members wish to have any queries about the payments. I would say that our finance officer has done these reports this month, so hopefully they add up correctly. Unlike last month when I did it.
Can I move that we approve the payments and note the back reconciliation, please, Chair?
Seconder.
I'll send it.
Those agreed?
Yeah.
Move on to item 7, which is working groups. Minutes of the following working groups are there. The Civic Hall working group, attachment A, the events working group, attachment F, which is a copy of, and there wasn't a policy working group in October. So we need to receive the minutes, note any decisions made, consider the recommendations and decide if there are fair actions taken. So we take them.
Right, okay. Yes, firstly, Chair, our apologies for not circulating minutes for the events working group. They'll have to follow on. The recommendations from that working group are produced on the agenda. In relation to the Civic Hall working group, the Civic Hall working group meeting took place in 2 parts because there was quite a lot of business to be discussed. See if the members of the working group wish to inform members specifically about the discussion there. Recommendations which came from that group, which require consideration by the committee, obviously all members would have had circulated the plans which were produced in response to the brief which the council approved previously. So that brief was agreed in July, I believe, before the recess. The architect went away and came up with some initial ideas about how to meet that brief, which were considered by the group. And you can see the recommendation in respect to that is listed here, item 7, Roman numerals 1, to appoint a quantity surveyor to provide a detailed costing of what it would cost to deliver that scheme. The second item, again, members will have had circulated in advance of the meeting, not the papers, the proposal in respect to the pantomime. was, the second recommendation was that we should make a provision in the budget in order to stage a pantomime in 2020. So that's in next year's budget for next year, not this year. As I have alluded to on the agenda, if members wish to discuss these schemes in detail, because obviously we're dealing with commercial sensitivity, it may be necessary to deal with it in a closed session at Part B. So I'll put them here on the main agenda in open session, but dependent on where members want to go with the discussion, then we might have to deal with part of it now and part of it in a closed session. So unless
We'll definitely leave the Part B, Chair. So, do we want to talk about number one, and we'll just move number two to Part B and link that with items number 8.1, which is attachment G and H. We'll just do that at the end. That would work out the best, I think.
okay,
Is
so
that okay?
Councillor Davidson is moving that we move item 7.2, which is the pantomime on this item, and item 8.1, which is the draft budget, to Part B for discussion. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Stanley, is everyone happy with that proposal? Yeah? Okay, in which case the next item is, well, we're still on 7.1, President, which is the quantity surveyor.
Yeah, comment on that one. I keep wanting to stand up. I'm not very good at not standing up, and then I keep forgetting to stand up. Right, so we've got the quantity survey here to look at the building, but it's the similar thing going back to the budget paper that you've provided us with, that it's probably going to be too much of an ask to find the type of money that the quantity surveyor is going to say we need for the building right now. So my proposal is that the Civic Hall Working Group and the staff should concentrate on doing the things that we've already talked about, which are getting the quotations for the rooms, which we've already had, to do the decorating and do the improvements. Yeah, is that right? We've had them?
Exactly.
To make the community meeting room downstairs rather than the white room with black splodges all over the walls and things. To make that so it looks a bit tidy, so we can actually invite people to come into the Civic Hall. And thirdly, to urgently have a look at the toilets, because we've been talking about doing something with the toilets, well, at least since May 2017 when I got here, and they're in the same state, if not worse, because they're 2.5 years old. So looking to try to prioritise those things to get those moving really for now, and then if we need the well, obviously we do need to do major work with the Civic Hall to make it fit for purpose down the line, but I think for now that's enough for people to be going on with, or we're never going to get these really important things done, because we're going to be looking too far into the future. Does that sound like it? What makes sense for it to? That was my comment.
No comments?
Agree with Mark, especially when we need to prioritise the toilets as a matter of urgency and to get the necessary quote in. As soon as them quotes come in, get the work done, because they are in drastic need of refurbishment. And I'm not asking for gold plated or gold chains or anything, but just make them fit for purpose and all the toilets.
So are you seconding Councillor Davis' motion? So just so I'm clear, the motion on the table is that we don't appoint a quantity surveyor, but we prioritise the work that's already been agreed and the toilets.
Yeah, I've already agreed to look at the toilets. We've already got the some money for the toilets on. The other thing is that since the budget paper's been put together, the Public Works Loan Board, the rate of interest went up by 1% anyway. So it looked as if it wasn't going to be affordable before to be able to do the buildings. Definitely not affordable now when you're paying an extra 1%. So it's something where we'll have to investigate if we can get more money from somewhere else, or we have to take a Public Works Loan Board or whatever. But I think that's in the future. For now, we just need to make sure that people can come in, they can have a nice, even the toilet last week when he was here for the boxing on Friday night.
So, motion to any.
David's looking at us like, how can he go to the toilet?
Everyone happy to put that forward to full council?
Yeah.
Did you include that public proof?
Yeah.
It goes forward to full council anyway, so any recommendation to full council. That's 7172 deferred to. So 73 was the events working group. Okay, so just to update committee where everything is with this. Obviously, council's preferred option at the last time of asking in respect of Christmas lights was that we wanted to provide a real tree further up the front street, away from the existing site. So the existing site where we've had the tree for the last 7-8 years, we wanted to look at providing a tree further up, 2 planters up, near the sort of intersection between Barclays Bank and the bus station in that general area. And that was the request that was put forward to DCC several months ago. It took quite some time to navigate our way through with the various sort of people that are responsible and interested in respect of that. We eventually had a meeting with a number of officers from Durham County Council in highways, regen, street lighting, etc. to bottom this issue out. And you know, what it came down to was that the highways department, because of the way the highways legislation works, could not refuse to let us put in infrastructure to move the tree further up the street, because they have to deal with any legitimate requests to open up the highway. However, what was pointed out was the fact that obviously to run a low voltage cable kiosk into that planter up the road would require the street to be done up, which would obviously have a cost and would affect the finish of the front street works, which the town council contributed a lot of money towards in the first place. So the other thing was that when we put in the lighting schemes last year, so just to refresh memories, that's the tree near the roundabout by Aldi's Asda's there, the big one. Then we've got there was one sort of outside the old board school, between board school and shoot fair. Then there's one by St Joseph's School, big one near sort of back at Pact House, where the Carbon Homes building is, and then there was another one by the Royal further down. Those were the 4 schemes we put in last year. They were provided on the basis that we had to regularise them by putting in low voltage underground cabling with a key run from a little green box, like the Christmas tree was this year. That was because the DCC have changed their policies on catenary fed lighting schemes. So it's okay to put like a tree wrap or an icon on a lamppost, but it's not okay to run a catenary cable from a lamppost to a tree under the new policy that DCC adopted a couple of years ago. So last year, the lights that we installed were on the understanding that we would need to change that to an underground supply for this year. So it's in hand that we're going to change the one at Thornhill Terrace to an underground supply, the one at Aldi's to an underground supply, and the one at Royal to an underground supply. Where the sticking point came was the one which was one plant down from near the board school, because it was the same situation. It would involve digging up the new surface in the front street. And again, I always said that they couldn't refuse to let it happen, but it was kind of not something that was desirable for them to do. So the proposal that we came up with, pragmatically, from them and then discussed at the events working group, was that it doesn't appear to be feasible to provide the tree where we wanted to provide the tree up by Barclays Property Station. For the simple reason that to do so we need to dig up a large stretch of the front street, which would obviously have a negative impact on the way that surface looks. So the recommendation was, well, we'll provide a real tree, but as was planned, to replace the white tree at the location where the tree has been provided in the past. So instead of putting the white tree on, we'll put a real tree on, dressed at that location. The second part of the proposal was that rather than dig up the street, because the lights by the board school are 2 planters down from the actual tree site, and they were quite sparse. If you examine the trees down there, they were quite sparse anyway. we thought it would be prudent to just, rather than dig up the road there and put another kiosk in at quite a lot of money, to just take the lights off those trees and add them to the display further down that side of the Thornley Homes, Joseph's, because they're big, the big stand of trees there would take more lights and look quite impressive. So the proposal from the events working group, which I've just summed up much longer than I did in the sentence on the agenda, is to provide a real tree at the existing site where the white tree has been, relocate the lights from the planted by the board school to add to the display by Thornley Home Terrace, and then provide no further lights this year, just get those schemes regularised. And then, given the difficulties that we've had, because members will recall, right back at the start of this year, in fact, when my colleague, the Deputy Town Clerk, first started at the end of January, the first task we gave him was to review the lighting schemes for this year. And I think we put forward, close to 30 locations around the parish that we thought would be suitable. And Durham County Council eliminated them down to 2, which then turned out, because of the issue with low voltage supplies and where they're situated, to be more expensive than we budgeted for. So I think that what the events working group is saying, what we need to do is get those schemes done, get our main tree up, get those ones that we put up last year regularised, and then kind of not return to the drawing board, but then review what's deliverable realistically, so that we can get lights delivered out in the parishes, villages in future years. That's kind of the proposal that the events working group has put forward. It's item 7.3 on the agenda. The other bits, item 7.4, flowing on from this, the Remembrance Beacon event, the plan is to hold that at the same time as last year at the Beacon location. So it'll be a 6:45 start for a 7 o'clock lighting of the Beacon on 10th of November to follow the daytime Sunday Remembrance events and wreath layings. Again, that recommendation was put forward by the events working group for agreement. Hopefully that one's less controversial. Then 5, the events working group, the Christmas event to be developed as we plan with the on-stage entertainment carol concert with local schools to finish with the book attraction, which was discussed earlier this year. We'd already because we'd anticipated we were going to have issues, we'd already kind of put Alan Henry Events on notice that we needed to have 2 event plans, one for the preferred location and one for the existing tree location, and so that's kind of not a huge operational difficulty. Obviously, the reason that council wanted to move the tree to where it did was because it's a better event space, but in the real world we'll have to make do with what we've got. I think is what's coming out of committee, because it would be prohibitively expensive to dig up the street, and it would have a negative impact on the visual amenity of the area.
So, anyone, any comments to make on those recommendations?
If anyone else is going to comment, comment again on the events working group. I think I'll start off with number 5 at the bottom and then work up if that's alright. So number 5, the Christmas event. The Christmas event's exactly the same as we already envisaged it would be back in May, June, whenever we decided we were going to go with the option that we went with. That I think came around everybody here, didn't it? Where we had the thing firing out and that. It's just going to be in a slightly different location, which the location's not as good, but it'll still be a good service. Remembrance Beacon event. That worked well last year. We had a good turnout, so hopefully we'll have the same again this year. We can get our advertising right and things like that. That was pretty good. The number 3, the Christmas lights and the Christmas tree. I think we were all disappointed that we can't do what we thought we would do, because that event space was a far better event space than the one that we're stuck with. But with regards to the Christmas tree, we didn't really have any choice, because by the time we'd dug up all that road, it would have been, 1, it would have been too late for this year, 2, it would have cost a fortune, and 3, it would have looked a bit dodgy, because the tarmac things wouldn't have been the same colour that it is now. So that was really no choice when we were told we couldn't do that. And then the Christmas light thing, that's the most frustrating thing of all, because Anne Trumman's been here for 9 months, He's smiling over there. Well, he's been here for 9 months trying to get Christmas lights in the in our villages. Then he just keeps getting told no, 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 and they keep saying, what about putting it here? No. What about putting it there? No. There was only 2 options that we were able to do, weren't there?
The first list we put there was 2, we put another list up and we've got nothing positive happening at all yet. So.
And even the 2 that we did there, it was something like 18,000 to do one of them and 14,500 to do the other one, just to put the cables in. So we need and look at some different options, which is not on here, but look at different things we can attach to lamp posts and perhaps something similar to what was on before, but a bit brighter and a bit slightly different. So unfortunately, I need to move all 3 of these things.
Mark is moving those 2 recommendations.
Right.
3. Everyone happy to accept those recommendations? Any comment? Any?
I would just like to thank Alan for the hard work and frustration he's probably had in 9 months. He probably didn't expect it. And he came into the job and probably taking DCC is a hard work. So, yeah, we appreciate the hard work and probably you were as frustrated as what we are with the knockbacks that you've had.
Yeah, thanks very much. It does look like it now, but it wouldn't be it's hard with a lot of trying, but
Move on to item 8. 2. Would you want
Members, we've seen the Appendix 1, which was circulated in the paper, but I've tabled a short report which to accompany that. Anne and I spent quite a lot of time going through all the budgets last week, and we managed to identify about 2 days' work and recoding and journaling stuff over on the system where we've been coding things like, amazing really, because the Civic Hall were making profit on their stationery budget. We got to the bottom of that one. All the postage for tickets have getting added coded to stationery rather than on income codes. We've done all sorts of things like that, sorting the budgets out, drill into the codes, finding what's coded wrong, finding where we've got things double counted and not. Where we are right now in the budget monitor, the Appendix 1, which is the summary report, kind of shows you where we are with the percentage spent. Obviously we're 50% of the way through the year, so it's quite easy to see whether we're ahead or behind. There's some areas where we've obviously spent a lot more than 50%, like the grants, but that's obviously because it's all front-loaded expenditure. There's some areas where we're showing as underspent with the expenditures at the back end of the year. They've just been sort of marked with a green or an orange. The report that I've tabled shows you that in general we're on target for a break-even spend on the budget. We should be okay with admin. We should be okay with the democracy, policy, assets, external services. The only amber is shown on the operational services stroke grants, and that's obviously explained in the report. The warden service is charged quarterly, and since the beginning of the year, the staffing costs for the wardens, the wardens have had an internal in DCC, their evaluation of their jobs has gone through, so that the cost of that service has kind of increased a bit through the year. So we're still in discussion with DCC about what that's going to look like, and so the estimates that we provided are just kind of guesses, as they always will be at this time of the year. We have got some small overspends in events on the year to date because we had to put a bit more into armed forces. We went slightly over on the minus Sunday, very slightly, a couple £100. Although our other events are aware of that, and we're kind of, we're going to hopefully bring that in by the end of the year. And in the Civic Hall, we've got the position where it looks like we're not on target to achieve the income, but we're also not on target to achieve the expenditure that's forecast, and that's due to the fact that all's been quieter in terms of events and stuff. Now, we're about to enter the busier period of the year anyway, with more events on. But that is reflected in the fact that obviously we've had a lot of work being put into making the building more marketable for the future. So when we get the refurbishment done, and we're able to get the brochures out of the website up, and we're able to get onto selling the place, hopefully we can reverse that trend and increase the sales. Because actually, if you look at the figures that were projected for the City Hall and you look at what we put in the draft budget for next year, actually the sales don't need to move 1 million miles in the positive direction to start bringing the building into sort of the sustainable area that we want it to be in. So basically what I've put in there in my conclusion is that it shows the expenditure and a projected outturn position based on the year-to-date expenditure, and you can see that we're projecting a small overspend at this stage of the year. However, when you do, this is the first sort of detailed budget monitor of the year, it's right to flag up budget pressures at this stage because we know that we're looking at maybe a 1% budget pressure. We've got 6 months to then bring that in to a balanced position for the year end. So, as I've said in my report, this isn't of course the immediate concern. This is something which is being highlighted now, which we can deal with over the course of the remainder of the year. So my recommendation on budget monitoring is to accept the report, and obviously any recommendations that the committee wishes to make or questions they wish to ask.
Any recommendations? Any questions? Mark?
Thanks, Chair. Firstly, Joe McMahon says that I was supposed to put his apologies in, which I forgot about. That's all. He said he couldn't come, so can you put Joe's apologies in, please? I just asked him where, sent my message, asked him where he was.
To retrospectively accept Councillor McMahon's apology.
I told him on Saturday that I couldn't. I've got it down. Whatever. So, sorry about that. Just a query about the warden service. We've got the cost has increased since the financial year began.
Well,
Do
you
we
see,
not have a
we have an SLA.
You might ask me, see, we're not got a thing that says
We have.
you will tell us in advance if the price is going
Well,
down.
this is why, this is Councillor Davidson, this is why I said I'm projecting an overspend at this point in time. I'm being diplomatic. I'm in discussion with our relevant counterpart officers at Durham County Council. I have pointed out that we were to be notified in the SLA of changes in advance budget setting.
Yeah.
I pointed out that we weren't, and I'm in, like I say, I'm in discussion with them at the moment. So I'm hoping that I'll report a different position in future.
So, why didn't you just say that instead of? I'm being diplomat. That's okay. That's all I want to ask you.
It's just a comment. Obviously, we've talked about the toilets and we've talked about the sick toilets. Can we be mindful, obviously, that concert is going to put us for some refurb, so we might pick up some work, and you know, let's not do our bit when they're doing their bits. So
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because it's going to be close to 20 weeks.
it's a long. I think it'll be more.
That's what the plan is.
We need to find out when that is so we can try.
So the visiting, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
after the panel.
It's not going to say it's going to be after New Year.
Just
because
after
the
the
plan will run.
I've seen the date somewhere. I'll have a look.
Advertise the toilets, isn't it? And say, footfall.
We just might pick up some.
Yeah, hopefully.
Excellent.
Recommendation is to vote the report.
Accept the report.
Accept the report. Yeah.
I think we're all happy to accept the report. Has anybody's got any?
In that case, you need to move that we exclude the press and public.
Yes.
Please, Chair.
So Councillor Davidson, you're moving to exclude the press and public. The reason for that being?
Commercial sensitivity.
Thank you. Press and public?